The Ukrainian President Vlodymyr Zelensky is making his first official visit to Poland since Russia invaded Ukraine. These are live pictures from Warsaw, where he's been welcomed by the country's leader, Andrzej Duda, at the presidential palace. And he's expected to thank the Polish people, where he's at the royal castle in Warsaw later on. Poland has, of course, been one of the most outspoken and generous supporters of Kyiv since the war started in February last year. The country has taken in millions of refugees and sent more than 300 tanks. It was also the first country to send fighter jets to Ukraine. It sent around 300. Let's talk to our correspondent who's watching all of those pictures for us following developments in Warsaw. Adam Easton is there. Adam, take us through what we're looking at right now.
Well, just under an hour ago, President Zelensky and the First Lady arrived at the presidential palace to full military honours, the playing of the Ukrainian and Polish national anthems. And once he's gone into the palace, President Duda has condecorated him with the Order of the White Eagle, which is the oldest and highest state honour for civilians and military personnel in Poland. And President Duda said, "There is no doubt that you are special. It is difficult to hide tears of emotion watching your service for your homeland," he said when he gave him the decoration, the honor. So that's what's happened so far in terms of the meeting between President Duda and President Zelensky. The delegations of both sides are now meeting and discussing and holding talks. And in an hour or so, we're going to have a joint news conference with both presidents to discuss a few details about what they've been talking about. But undoubtedly, they will have been talking about the current situation in the conflict, the war, and how Poland can be of further assistance to Ukraine, whether that is militarily or humanitarian aid. Poland is the third largest military aid donor to Ukraine after the UK and USA. It sent hundreds of tanks. It was in the vanguard, encouraging its NATO allies to ramp up the military equipment supplies to Ukraine, whether that's German-made Leopard 2 heavy battle tanks or MiG fighter jets, which Poland was one of the first to send in the last month to Ukraine. So there'll be talk about that. There'll also be talk about the future. We're talking about how Polish companies can get involved in helping out in the reconstruction of Ukraine following the end of the war.
Adam, Poland were straight away incredibly supportive of Ukraine, weren't they, soon as Russia invaded? Tell us more about what they've said about why they've offered this unequivocal support.
Well, it's an important point you mentioned, Samantha. In February last year, Poland opened not only its borders, but its homes to Ukrainian refugees. Hundreds of thousands of Polish people who had a spare room put up Ukrainian women and children who were fleeing the war. And in fact, some of those people are still staying with their Polish hosts. And President Zelensky has come here because he wants to thank the Poles in person. In this building behind me, this is Warsaw's Royal Castle, where he'll be in a few hours' time. He'll be meeting some of those refugees and also some of the Poles who've helped them. And he'll be giving a speech which will be televised live to the public, which are being encouraged to gather here in this square and watch it on the live, on the big screen. So that's something that's important for President Zelensky, to show his appreciation to actually the Polish welcome. And I think that's born out of the fact that Poles empathize with Ukraine's situation because of their history. Let's not forget that Poland had a communist regime imposed on it by Moscow after the Second World War, which lasted for almost 50 years. People are well aware of that. There's also the 19th century when Russia, part of Poland was in the Russian Empire. So Poles know what it's like to be under the Russian yoke, and that, I think, is one of the motivating factors which leads them to extend their hospitality to Ukrainians suffering so terribly under this war.